I went on a ride last week. In my 3 days off, about 4 days ago now. Two mates from work went out for a ride, and both of them way more experienced than me. I mean, there's a gulf of difference in experience levels, and yeah, that did reflect in the skill level as well. But yeah, we'll just go for a small ride, they said. Take it easy, they said. Yeah, there's me playing catch up constantly. And I know normally you put the slowest one, which would have been me. Wouldn't even need to have a discussion about that, at the front. The only problem is I didn't know the route, so I went at the back. I didn't think about going in the middle, but I sort of found myself at the back, so that's fine. It was okay. I enjoyed it. I mean, really did enjoy it. I'm sure I spilt it a little bit for their mind, because they had to go probably a lot slower than they wanted to, and sort of slow down and wait for me quite a few times, to be fair to them. He took me to the village where Hugh Grant starred in the film. The film was called An Englishman Went Up a Hill and Came Down a Mountain, if you remember, or if you look at that one. And the hill was set to be the back end of this village, and the village has a particular pub where Hugh Grant is staying, and that pub is in that village. So we went for a gander. Didn't go into the pub, but yeah, we went there. And then we came over the moors and dropped back into Bala. And in between, on that route, there's a left, as you're going towards Bala, there's a left hairpin that dips down. And I was playing catch up. That's not to say that I was dodging trees or anything. That's just me sort of recognising that I sort of can't relax too much. You know, I've just got to get a bit of a wiggle on. Came into this section and I saw his head, and I thought, right, you know, I'm still in touch here, that's okay. I wasn't trying to catch him, just make sure that I sort of saw if he took a turning or whatever, you know. So I didn't know the route, as I said, and went into this hairpin. I noticed the hairpin, assessed the hairpin, looked at the speed, front brake, started, you know, combination back brake, took a gear off. Just as I'm going into this now, just getting set to put the bike in, so to speak, I just noticed that my handlebars were going in a straight line and my arse wasn't. So look down a little bit, and there's my tank and my seat wagging from left to right. So I just stand up on the pegs and lift my arse off the seat a little bit. Gently come off the back brake and gently come off the front brake, and it stops. Skew my head round the corner, realise there's no traffic coming, so I can either run wide on the corner, or try and save it and chuck it round. Decided that the safest thing to do, considering it was no oncoming traffic for quite a distance, was to just let myself go wide and not worry about it. Take the exit route rather than force the position. So I did that, and then came to the next corner afterwards, sort of thinking what the hell went wrong there. Combination brake, absolutely nothing in the back brake, the pedal just went to the floor. So yeah, brake fade, or I boiled my brake fluid, I think. Probably some water or something in there that had overheated, and I ended up boiling it. So I went for a nice ride, enjoyed it thoroughly, and managed to boil my rear brake fluid. And I know what people will say, you should always go at the front if it's slowest. Well, yes, if you don't trust the guys in front of you, and if they don't trust you, then that's true. If you don't know the group, I completely agree. But to be honest with you, if you've got a group or a couple of guys that you are familiar with, you sort of know how they're going to react in certain situations on the bike and off the bike. If you trust them, and they trust you, then it's a two-way thing. And where I'm coming from that is, you can trust them if they disappear to not just completely bugger off and leave you, right? And not to just bugger off for the sake of buggering off. Because what was happening is, it's okay for the first couple of bends, and then every sort of 5 or 6 bends, I would drop one bend back, sort of thing. So if you went into a good section, then they'd come out of it and I'd be 2 or maybe 3 bends behind. And if you trust them to just slow down, you don't have to worry about going hell for leather to catch up. You can just, you know, you'll naturally catch them because they're slowing down for you. And if they know that there isn't an opportunity for you to get back in touch with them, then they just stop and pull over and wait for you, which they did a couple of times. And equally, they need to trust you that if they do disappear out of sight round the bend, that you aren't gonna ride that bend like they did. You're gonna ride it like you feel you should, i.e. that they need to trust you that you aren't gonna just click into some sort of lunatic and ride like a lunatic to try and catch them up. Because you know, you can just imagine that the worst outcome for everybody is to have somebody coming off and it not be anybody's fault other than, you know, the rider, and that fault be that they're trying to play catch up on a couple of others, you know. That's got to be the worst outcome, that somebody's been almost driven and forced into riding too fast for themselves. So yeah, to summarise that now, see, sort of get what I mean, is you as the slowest rider, if you are at the back, only do it if you trust the others in the group, particularly the one that's in front of you, and then he needs to trust the one in front of them, that if they see you drop off too far, that they slow the pace down until you sort of come back into touch, and then gradually wind it back up and sort of see if you drop off again, and then find a speed that you're comfortable with. And equally, they have to trust you that if you do drop off the back of them, that you know that you trust them enough that they will slow down, that you don't need to do something stupid to try and catch up. I think that's the two important parts of that. It's a two-way thing. It's not just, the emphasis is not just on the fast rider not to lose you, and the emphasis is not on the slowest rider to catch the faster one. You've got to work together. And the reason I say work together is you can go out for just a poodle, you know, but I particularly wanted to go out and I asked them to pick a route that was a lot of corners and challenging, that could actually let me practice going around corners properly. And because of what they've done in their previous lives and their skill levels, I wanted to see how they go around corners, and I wasn't doing it just to emulate what any one of them were doing, because both of them at certain corners would take slightly different speeds, slightly different lines, but where I would see that both of them took the same line and that line would be different to mine, that in my head was making me make an assessment, maybe I should be considering that line. Yeah. Use the opportunity of a small skilled rider in front of you to watch and learn. And you have to make your own assessment whether you feel comfortable having a go. You know, when we stopped for the brew, I'd ask them what were they doing, what were they thinking when they went into a certain situation at a certain position before I had a go at doing it. So I sort of understood I had a better understanding of what their mindset and what their thought process was in that situation. And I found it very helpful and very enjoyable. So they know who they are, I'm not going to name them. So thank you very much for both of you. And tomorrow, taking a day off work tomorrow because it is my wife's birthday. Happy birthday, wifey. I'm not going to embarrass you, sweetheart, and say how old you are. Yeah. But yeah, happy birthday tomorrow for you.